I died choking on my own blood in the master bathroom of the house I'd poured every dime into. My wrists slit not deep enough to end it quick, but just enough to make a statement. The note I'd left on the marble vanity, scrawled in Sharpie, accusing my parents and sister of bleeding me dry, fluttered into the pooling red like a white flag of surrender. But as the darkness closed in, a single, impossible thought pierced the haze. This isn't over. Not yet. And then, like a glitch in the universe's code, I snapped back, heart pounding, lungs burning, not to the afterlife, but to 3 years earlier, standing in the exact same spot, staring at my reflection in that same goddamn mirror, alive and unbroken. It was July 4th, 2022. The air thick with the smell of sunscreen and barbecue smoke wafting from the neighbors' yards in our cookie-cutter suburb outside Chicago. I was 27, fresh off a brutal 12-hour shift to the ER, my scrub still clinging to my skin like a second layer of regret. In my previous life, or whatever you want to call that nightmare timeline, I'd ignored the signs. The endless loans to my family that never got paid back. The way my sister Lauren always swooped in to help with my career, only to sabotage it with her honeyed lies. But now, every memory was etched like acid on my soul. I knew exactly how it ended, Lauren convincing Mom and Dad that I was unstable, forging documents to siphon my inheritance from Grandma's estate, and finally, pushing me over the edge when they evicted me from the very house I'd bought to escape them. This time, I wasn't playing their game. No more DR. Natalie Hayes, the golden child who fixed everyone else's messes while they picked her bones clean. I blinked at my reflection, brown eyes wide, freckles dusting my nose like forgotten confetti, and whispered, "Fuck you all." My voice echoed off the tiles, steady for the first time in years. The house wasn't mine yet in this reset. It was still a foreclosed fixer-upper I'd been eyeing on Zillow during lunch breaks. But I had the down payment tucked away in a secret savings account, the one I'd started after med school because even then, some buried instinct screamed run. I didn't waste a second. That night, after peeling off my scrubs and chugging a lukewarm LaCroix to steady my nerves, I logged into my bank app on my ancient laptop. The balance stared back, $45,000. Enough for the deposit on that 3-bedroom colonial on Elm Street, the one with the creaky porch and the backyard that backed onto a nature preserve. In the old timeline, I'd told everyone about it, bragged even, hoping for once they'd be proud. Big mistake. Lauren had advised me to co-sign the mortgage with her for better rates, and poof. 6 months later, it was hers. This time, radio silence. I wired the money to the realtor's escrow account at 11:47 p.m., my thumb hovering over confirm like it was signing my declaration of war. The closing was a blur 2 weeks later, handshakes with a balding agent named Gary who smelled like stale coffee. Stacks of paperwork that made my head spin more than a double shift. But when the keys hit my palm, cold and heavy, a feral grin split my face.
Mine.
I drove straight there, windows down, blasting Taylor Swift's I Did Something Bad because irony is the best revenge playlist. The house was a wreck, peeling wallpaper in the foyer, a kitchen faucet that dripped like a guilty conscience. But it was freedom. Solid, brick and mortar freedom. I moved in solo, hauling boxes from my beat-up Honda Civic while fireflies danced in the humid twilight. No housewarming party, no Instagram posts. Just me, a futon from IKEA, and a bottle of cheap Merlot to toast the ghosts I'd left behind. My phone buzzed incessantly, texts from Mom about family dinner this Sunday, and Lauren's passive-aggressive haven't heard from you in ages. Everything okay at work? I let them pile up, unread, like digital landfill. Work was the same grind, stitching up knife wounds from bar fights, consoling families in the waiting room, the endless beep of monitors marking time like a death knell. But now, every suture I tied felt like practice for binding up my own wounds. By month 2, I'd patched the basics, new locks on every door, a Ring camera at the front stoop wired to my phone. I even splurged on a security system, the kind with motion sensors that chirped like angry geese. Paranoia? Maybe. But in my head, I replayed the endgame on loop, Lauren's smug face as she handed me the eviction notice. Mom's crocodile tears about tough love, Dad's silence thicker than the bourbon he nursed. They'd found out about Grandma's will, $200,000 tucked away for me alone, by rifling through her papers after the funeral. Lauren, ever the paralegal shark at her firm downtown, had discovered a clause they claimed invalidated it. Something about undue influence. Bullshit. It was all her, twisting words like she twisted knives. I started digging that fall, late nights after shifts, fueled by vending machine coffee and spite. My laptop glowed in the dim kitchen as I pored over public records, ancestry sites, anything to unearth their dirt. Turns out, Dad's construction business wasn't just struggling, it was a front for skim materials and under-the-table jobs that had him dodging IRS audits for years. Mom? She'd been popping Xanax like candy since I was 10, funding it with donations from church friends she blackmailed over affairs. And Lauren. God. Lauren. The golden girl. The one who'd aced law school while I scrubbed blood off my Crocs. She'd buried a DUI from college, paid off with family cash, and worse, a quiet settlement from a harassment suit at her old internship, hushed up to protect her future. But the real bomb? Grandma hadn't just left me money. She'd left proof, a locked box in her attic with ledgers showing Dad's embezzlement from her retirement fund back in '05, the year we lost the family cabin to foreclosure. Lauren knew. She'd been the one to organize Grandma's things after her stroke, and I'd bet my stethoscope she'd shredded the evidence. In the old life, I'd found a carbon copy too late, after they'd isolated me, gaslit me into thinking I was the crazy one. This time, I'd emailed a scanned duplicate to a secure Dropbox under a fake name, backed it up on a thumb drive hidden in the crawl space. Insurance. Holidays hit like a freight train. Thanksgiving. And Mom's voice on voicemail. Syrupy sweet. Natalie. Honey. We miss you. Lauren's bringing that boyfriend of hers. Remember Jake from high school? Come home. I deleted it. Poured another glass of wine. And binge-watched Succession for the family drama fix without the emotional shrapnel. Christmas was worse. A card arrived in the mail. And signed but reeking of Lauren's perfume, Chanel No.
5.
The scent of betrayal. Inside, a photo of us 4 at Disney when I was 8. All smiles and Mickey ears. Scribbled note. Family first. XO. I burned it in the sink, watching the edges curl black, and felt the first real crack in my armor. Was I becoming them? Cold. Calculating?
No.
This was survival. By New Year's, I'd promoted to lead resident at the hospital. Ironic, since in the old timeline, Lauren had whispered to the chief that I was burning out, tanking my eval.
Now,
I was crushing it, networking with attendings who could vouch for me if shit hit the fan. And the house? It was transforming. Fresh paint in Revere pewter, a herb garden on the windowsill, Fairy lights strung over the mantel like stars I'd stolen from their sky. Spring brought the first real test. A knock at the door on a rainy Saturday, Lauren. Unannounced. Her umbrella dripping on my welcome mat.
Nat.
Open up. It's pouring. Her voice. All big sister concern. But I saw the calculation in her eyes through the peephole. She knew something.
How?
I'd been careful. No social media. No chatter at work. But blood's thicker than lies. And she'd always had a nose for my secrets. I cracked the door. Chain still latched. What are you doing here? She laughed. That tinkling bell sound that hid razor blades. Can a sister drop by? Mom's worried. You ghosted us. Her gaze flicked past me. Greedy. Taking in the foyer. Nice place. Wait, is this the Elm Street one? You bought it? Without telling us. My pulse thundered. In the old life. This was how it started. Her surprise visit, feigning joy. Then the slow poison of doubt. Yeah, I said. Voice flat. It's mine. What do you want? Lauren? She tilted her head. Rain purling on her lashes. To catch up. Jake and I are engaged. Thought you'd want to hear it from me. A pause. Then the hook. And Dad's business is in trouble. He could use your help. Just a signature on some papers. There it was. The trap. Sprung early. I smiled. Slow and sharp. Congrats on the ring. But I'm busy. Doors closing now. I shut it in her face. Listened to her sputter. Then the squelch of her heels retreating down the walk. My hands shook as I double-checked the locks. Phase 1, exposure. I'd mail anonymous tips to the IRS about Dad's gigs. Start small. Let the noose tighten. But as I sank onto the couch, the weight hit. This wasn't just revenge, it was rewriting my obituary. And God help me, it felt good. Summer of 2023 baked the Midwest like a forgotten casserole, humidity clinging to everything like guilt. I'd turned the house into a fortress of normalcy, weekend hikes in the preserve, brunches with ER buddies who didn't know my skeletons. Even a half-hearted Tinder date with a firefighter named Mike who made me laugh for the first time in months. But under it all, the plan hummed like a live wire. I'd leaked Dad's discrepancies to a freelance accountant buddy from med school. Nothing traceable, just enough to flag an audit. The first letter arrived at their door a week later. I knew because Lauren texted me a photo of it. Caption WTF? Dad's freaking out. You hear anything? I replied with a single emoji, woman shrugging. Let them stew. Work kept me sane. The chaos of codes and crises a balm against the calculated storm I was brewing. One night, post-shift, I treated a guy for heatstroke, construction worker, mid-40s, muttering about crooked bosses stiffing overtime. His chart listed Elm Street contracting. Dad's firm. Small world. Or cosmic joke. I slipped him my number on a napkin. If you need a witness statement,
Call.
Lauren didn't let up. She escalated to weekly voicemails, each more laced with that faux warmth that made my teeth ache. Nat, we're family. Whatever's going on, we can fix it. Fix it like they fixed Grandma's will. Or the time they borrowed my college fund for Lauren's study abroad that was really a semester in Cabo with frat boys. The memories flooded back unbidden me. 16. Discovering the empty savings envelope under my mattress. Mom's excuse about better investments. I'd swallowed it then. Because what else? Yell? Run?
Now.
I archived every message, building my digital war chest. The real fracture came in August, at Mom's 60th birthday bash. I dodged the invites, but she cornered me at the grocery store, literal ambush in the cereal aisle. Her cart loaded with sheet cakes and regret. Natalie Marie Hayes. You will not ignore your own mother. Her eyes, red-rimmed, mascara smudged like war paint. Up close, the Xanax haze was evident, pupils pinpricks, hands fluttering like trapped birds. I gripped the Frosted Flakes box like a shield. Happy early birthday,
Mom.
Gotta run, double shift. She grabbed my arm, nails digging in. It's about the house, isn't it? Lauren told us you bought it cash. No loan.
How?
That inheritance was for all of us. There it was. The lie uncoiling. Grandma's will had been explicit. Mine alone. For the child who stayed. I'd stayed. Wiping asses and fetching morphine while Lauren jetted to interviews. It was mine, I said, voice low, shoppers blurring around us. You stole it last time. Not again. Her face crumpled. Theatrical. Stole?
Oh.
Honey, you were spiraling. The breakdowns. The pills, Lauren said. Lies. I yanked free. Heart slamming. All of it. Ask her about the DUI payout. Or Dad's ledgers. I walked away, leaving her gaping amid the Captain Crunch. But the damage was done. That night, Jake called, Lauren's fiancé. The high school quarterback turned real estate hotshot. Hey, Nat. Heard things got heated. Look, Lauren's just worried. Family sticks together, right? I laughed. Bitter. Tell her to stick it where the sun don't shine. Hung up. Blocked him. But sleep evaded me. I paced the kitchen. Rain pattering against the panes like accusatory fingers. Was I the villain now? Exposing them meant collateral, Dad's employees out of jobs. Mom's church ladies whispering. But the alternative? Another lifetime of their leeches on my veins. September brought the audit hammer. Dad's business imploded. Liens on equipment. Frozen accounts. He showed up at my yard door one midnight, reeking of scotch, eyes wild. Natalie. Please. Just. Sign this release. It's a mix-up. The paper trembled in his fist, waiver for a family trust that would have funneled my assets to him. Irony at its finest. I glanced at the waiting room, a kid with a broken arm from a playground fall. Parents hovering like hawks. No.
Dad.
You built this. Tear it down yourself. Security escorted him out, his curses echoing down the hall. Lauren's retaliation was swift. Emails to my chief. Anonymous. Claiming I was unfit due to personal vendettas. Bullshit. But it stuck. My eval dipped. Whispers in the break room. I fought back with performance metrics. Letters from colleagues. But the stress gnawed, manifesting in migraines that blurred my vision during rounds. Then, the deep cut, I found the secret. Buried in Grandma's old emails, ones I'd forwarded to myself pre-death, I uncovered the original will. Not just money. A codicil naming me executor of her estate, with clauses to claw back any ill-gotten gains from family. Dad hadn't just skimmed. He'd forged her signature on a second mortgage against the cabin, pocketing $150,000 that vanished into Lauren's law school tuition. Mom knew. Her emails begged forgiveness. For the girls' sake. The girls.
Me.
The afterthought, Lauren. The investment. I printed it all. Notarized copies. and overnight them to a PI firm in the city, $5K for my emergency fund, worth every penny. They called a week later. MS.
Hayes.
We've got surveillance. Your sister's been liquidating assets. Looks like prepping for a move. And your parents? Meeting with a divorce attorney. Schadenfreude tasted like black coffee, bitter,
but fortifying.
Halloween loomed. Jack-o'-lanterns grinning from porches, like conspirators. I threw myself a solo party. Pumpkin ale. Hereditary on the TV. Because nothing says reclaimed life like watching a family devour itself. But midway through, headlights swept the drive. 3 sets. Uninvited. My phone lit up. Mom's text. Surprise. Trick or treat. Heart in my throat. I watched from the blinds as they piled out. Dad lugging a cooler. Mom with a bottle of wine. Lauren in heels that sank into the lawn. Jake trailing like a whipped dog. The doorbell chimed. Cheerful as a guillotine. I didn't answer. Minutes stretched. I heard murmurs. Then the scrape of a key in the lock.
No.
I'd changed them all. But Lauren, her paralegal fingers, always prying, must have sweet-talked the old realtor. The door swung open. And there they were, spilling into my foyer like toxic spill. Smiles faltering at the sight of me in pajamas. Arms crossed. Natalie, Mom rushed forward, arms outstretched. We brought lasagna, your favorite, Dad grunted, setting down the cooler. Figured you'd be lonely. Lauren's eyes darted, appraising the new rugs, the framed print of Chicago skyline I'd hung to claim the space. Cute setup. But seriously, Nat, family intervention time. I didn't move. The air crackled, thick with the scent of garlic and deceit. Get out. Jake shifted. Awkward. Come on. Let's talk.
Out.
My voice. Surgeon steady. This is my house. You have no right. Lauren stepped closer. That predator gleam. Actually, we do. Remember the cosign? From the offer letter? Dad's name's on the title, emergency clause.
Lie.
Pure fabrication. But in the old timeline, it had worked because I'd let it.
Not now.
I pulled out my phone. Hit record. Prove it. Or leave. The standoff stretched. Rain starting to drum the roof like applause. Dad's face purpled, Mom whimpered. Lauren's mask slipped, venom flashing. You're destroying us. You ungrateful bitch. And just like that, the hook sank deep. But I was the one holding the line now. November chilled the bones of the Midwest, frost etching my windows like accusations. The intervention devolved into a screaming match that woke the neighbors, Mrs. Hargrove next door peeking through curtains, probably dialing the non-emergency line. Dad lunged for the papers on my coffee table, innocent mortgage stubs. But in his booze-fogged brain, evidence of conspiracy. I sidestepped, years of ER reflexes kicking in, and he crashed into the side table, splintering the leg. Mom wailed, "My baby boy," as if he were the victim. Lauren filmed it all on her phone. That calculated glint screaming leverage. Smile for the jury. I snarled, my own recording app whirring. Jake, the spineless prop, tried to mediate. Guys, let's just go. But Lauren rounded on him. Stay out of it. A crack in their perfect facade that I filed away like shrapnel. They stormed out eventually, lasagna congealing on the mat. Threats hanging like smoke. You'll regret this. Natalie, Dad bellowed from the driveway, tires squealing as they peeled off. I bolted the door, sank to the floor, adrenaline crashing like a code blue. My hands, steady for surgeries, shook as I texted the PI, escalate.
Now.
The fallout was biblical. By dawn, my inbox overflowed, hospital HR summoning me for a meeting on the family disturbance video Lauren had anonymously shopped around. Chief's email was terse. Patient care first.
Dr. Hayes.
Personal matters offsite. Subtext, clean it up or clock out. I showed up in scrubs starched to armor, armed with affidavits from the night shift, alibis proving I hadn't leaked a damn thing. This is harassment, I told them. Voice level. My family's unraveling their own mess. I'm just collateral. They bought it, barely. Probation. No suspension. But the whispers lingered. Colleagues averting eyes in the lounge. Lauren's doing. No doubt, she'd always been the puppet master, pulling strings from her corner office at Goldstein and Pierce. I retaliated symmetrically, forwarded the PI's prelim report to the Illinois Bar Association, tips on ethical breaches, witness tampering in Dad's looming fraud case. Nothing direct, just concerned parties smoke. Winter clamped down. Holidays a minefield. I skipped Christmas. Drove to Milwaukee for a solo cabin rental, ironic echo of the Lost Family one, chopping wood and staring into the fire. Replaying Grandma's voice from old voicemails. You're the strong one.
Nat.
Don't let 'em dim your light. Tears came then. Hot and unbidden. Because strength felt like solitary confinement. Back home, the house echoed emptier. My herb garden wilting under neglect. Work piled on, a flu surge that had me triaging fevers till my feet blistered. But it was distraction.
Pure.
The new year dawned with warrants. Dad's arrested New Year's Eve. Tax evasion. Wire fraud. The news app pinging while I nursed a hangover mimosa. His mugshot hit local feeds, hollow cheeks. That perpetual scowl. Mom called from a burner. Sobbing. He's innocent. Lauren's handling bail. But we need money, your money.
Click.
I blocked it. But the pity gnawed. Was this justice or just vengeance dressed in Kevlar? Lauren struck back hard. February. A process server at my door. Lawsuit from her firm. Claiming defamation. Over the bar complaint. $500,000 in damages. I laughed, manic, echoing off the walls, then called my own shark, a cutthroat litigator from the hospital's network. Pro bono for the drama. Countersue, I instructed. Emotional distress. The works. Discovery unearthed gold. Lauren's emails plotting the will forgery. Mom's therapy notes on familial coercion. The PI delivered the knockout. Audio of Lauren bragging to Jake about taking Nat down before she spills. But the controversial call came mid-trial prep. The ledgers proved Dad hadn't just skimmed Grandma. He'd laundered through a shell company tied to Lauren's internship. That harassment suit? Cover for shaking down a partner who got too close. Exposing it fully meant tanking her career. Maybe jail. But it also meant dragging innocence. Jake. Oblivious. And Mom. Who'd shielded them all. I paced the living room, wine glass sweating in my fist. Debating. Mercy? Or the full blade? I chose the blade. Anonymous dropped to the feds, the shell docs. Time-stamped. By March, indictments rained. Lauren disbarred pending hearing. Dad's plea deal crumbling. She showed up at the ER then. Unhinged. White blonde hair length. Mascara rivers. You did this. My life gone. I met her in the parking garage. Fluorescents buzzing like hornets. You did it first. The will. The house. The lies. I just finished the story. She lunged, nails raking my cheek, 3 red lines. Superficial but stinging. Security hauled her off, but not before she spat. Blood's thicker.
Nat.
You'll always be alone. The trial was a circus. Tabloids dubbing it the Hayes heist, reporters staking my lawn. I testified in a stuffy courtroom downtown. Voice steady as I laid out the betrayals, the forged cigs, the gaslighting. The night I almost ended it because their love was a noose. Jurors gasped at the audio. Mom testified, crumbling on the stand, admitting her complicity in tears. I thought it was for the family, she whispered. Dad glared daggers. Lauren, composed in her power suit, cracked only once when I locked eyes and said, "You chose her over me." Every time. Verdict. Fraud upheld. Restitution ordered, $300K back to me, plus punitive. But the twist gutted me. Jake's deposition. He wasn't complicit. Lauren had hidden it all. Even the engagement a ploy to legitimize their claim on my assets. He dumped her mid-trial, testifying against her for immunity. I loved her, he said, voice breaking. But this? Poison. Spring thawed the ground, but not my frost. The house felt tainted now. Echoes of that forced entry. The lasagna stain I'd scrubbed for hours. I sold it in May, cashing out at a profit, and bought a condo downtown. High-rise anonymity. Doorman vetted. Work promoted me to attending. The scandal faded to footnote. But victory tasted like ash. Late nights. I'd scroll old photos, us at the cabin, Lauren braiding my hair, Dad's rare grin. Were they monsters? Or just broken?
Me?
The call came in June. Collect from county lockup, Dad. Nat.
I'm sorry.
For everything.
Pause. Gravelly.
Your mom's leaving me. Lauren. She's talking plea. But you won. Be happy, kid. I hung up, stared at the city lights from my balcony. Happy? The word felt foreign, like a language I'd forgotten. Summer 2024 scorched Chicago into submission, heat waves warping the skyline like a fever dream. I'd traded the house for the condo, but the ghosts followed, whispers in the elevator. Judgments from baristas who recognized my face from the Tribune spread. Doctor-daughter's revenge, family fortune fallout. The payout hit my account, $450,000 after fees. Enough to pay off student loans. Seed a trust for future me, the one who wouldn't bleed for love. But money's just paper. The real currency was the space in my chest. Less suffocated now, but scarred. Mom vanished post-trial. A ghost in Florida with a cousin. Sending postcards of palm trees and platitudes. Healing takes time. Sweetheart. No return address. No asks for cash. Lauren plea bargained down to probation. Disbarment sticking like tar. Last I heard, she waitressed at a Waffle House in Joliet. Jake's ring pawned for bus fare. Dad got 3 years at Statesville. Minimum security, white-collar purgatory with bad coffee and worse company. He wrote once. Yellow legal pad. Handwriting cramped. Proud of you. Even now. Fix what we broke. I burned it, but kept the ashes in a jar on the shelf. Morbid talisman. Work anchored me. Trauma Bay heroics. Mentoring residents who looked at me like a legend, not a tabloid villain. Heard about your family, one said over vending chips. Badass how you handled it, badass. The word stuck. A badge I wore crooked. But nights? That's when the what-ifs prowled. What if I'd forgiven? What if the reset was a curse, dooming me to isolation? The controversial pivot hit in July. A ethics board hearing, lingering fallout from Lauren's smears. Colleagues testified. Dr. Hayes saved my kid's life. But the panel grilled. Was the publicity a distraction? Personal vendetta impacting care? I owned it. No apologies. My family tried to destroy me. I fought back. If that's a flaw, disqualify me. Gasps rippled. The chair, a silver-haired surgeon with eyes like scalpels,
Leaned in.
Vindication isn't virtue.
Dr. Hayes.
But survival is. Cleared. With a warning. I walked out into the humidity, thunder rumbling distant, and for the first time, laughed real, belly deep. Revenge's afterglow faded fast. August. I drove to the old house, sold to a young couple with a toddler, swing set sprouting in the yard like new growth. I parked curbside, watched them grill burgers, the dad's easy laugh carrying on the breeze. Envy twisted, sharp, that normalcy, untainted. My phone buzzed, Mike the firefighter. From that Tinder spark. We'd reconnected post-trial. Coffee turning to dinners. His steady presence a counterpoint to my storm. "Wanna catch fireworks," his text read. 4th of July redux. But voluntary. We did, sprawled on a blanket in Grant Park. Sky exploding in reds and golds. His arm around me casual. No strings. "You're tough. Nat," he murmured during the finale. "But you don't have to be alone in it." I leaned in, fireworks mirroring the spark in my gut. Not love, not yet, but possibility. The kind I'd buried under grudges. Twist came Labor Day. A manila envelope FedEx to the condo. No return. Just for Natalie. Inside, Grandma's locked box original, brass key taped to the lid, mailed from a PO in Milwaukee. With it, a note in her looping script. "Found this cleaning. Knew you'd need it someday. Forgive if you can. Love always. Grandma." But she was dead. 2021. The postmark, July 2022. Weeks after my reset. Impossible. Chills prickled. I fumbled the phone. Dialing the PI. "Trace this." He called back hours later. Voice hushed. "Envelope from your mom." But the note. Handwriting matches your grandma's. She must have written it years ago. Sealed it. Your mom held it.
Send it now.
Timings. Eerie. Eerie. Or the universe winking. I unlocked the box. Not just ledgers, but letters Grandma to me. Undated. Prescient. They'll try to take it all.
Pigeon.
But you're the root. Grow anyway. Tucked in the bottom, a photo negative. Undeveloped. I rushed it to a 1-hour lab. The print emerged faded but fierce. Me. Age 10. At the cabin. Grinning gap-toothed beside Lauren, who eyed the camera wary. On the back. In pencil. Before the cracks. Tears blurred it. I framed it. Hung it by the balcony door. Forgiveness? Not wholesale. But understanding. Their greed born of Dad's failures. Mom's addictions. Lauren's insecurities mirroring mine. I'd been the scapegoat. But not the savior. That night, I wrote back to all three. Not emails, real letters. Stamps licked like seals. To Mom, postcards helped. Come visit when ready. To Dad, letters from prison suck. But yours didn't. Stay clean. To Lauren, Waffle House tips are shit. Call if you want out. No replies came. But the sending lightened something ancient. Fall foliage turned the preserve gold. Mike and I hiked it. His hand in mine. Talking futures, not plans. Just maybes. Work hummed. I mentored a resident named Elena. Her eyes wide at my stories. You make chaos look conquerable. Chaos. Yeah. By December, anniversary of the reset, I stood in the bathroom mirror. Scars faint from Lauren's nails. But eyes clear. The house on Elm? Distant memory. Like the blood I'd never spill again. I'd bought its secret. Claimed it fierce. Lost it to growth. Revenge? It hollowed them. But rebuilt me. No by kitsch ending. Just a woman. 30 now. Toasting with LaCroix to the glitch that saved her. As snow dusted the city, my phone pinged. Mom's text. Hesitant. Flying in tomorrow. Coffee. I typed back. Doors open. And meant it. The end?
Nah.
Just the sequel.